An incredible story, my friend. The fall of Pras Michel. From Fugees fame to federal felon. What a story it is. Listen to this. Pay close attention. This is more fascinating than one would think. Pras Michel, once a chart-topping rapper and member of the iconic hip-hop group, the Fugees, now faces the most sobering remix of his life, a potential 19 and a half years in federal prison. His name, once linked to 90s hits like Ghetto Supastar and Ready or Not, is now forever associated with one of the largest foreign lobbying scandals in United States history. Who knew? This week, Judge Colleen Kollar-Kotelly of the U.S. District Court for the District of Columbia issued an 18-page order determining how Michel's sentence will be calculated under federal guidelines. Now, while not a final judgment by any stretch of the imagination, the ruling is a most decisive blow to his defense team and a clear win for prosecutors. It set the stage for Michel's sentencing later this year, ensuring that his punishment will be severe, between 15 and 19 and a half years behind bars. How did this happen? What is this about? What are the implications? I know what you're thinking, and I know what the hip-hop world is thinking. First, let's talk about a judge's stark assessment in this. At the heart of Judge Kollar-Kotelly's ruling is a rejection of the narrative that Michel was an innocent artist caught in the crosshairs of global intrigue. The defense had argued that he was merely a political novice. He didn't know any better. An innocent babe in the woods, manipulated by foreign billionaires and self-serving intermediaries. He didn't know. He was unsophisticated, but the court, as you know, was unmoved. In her order, the judge concluded that Michel not only knew what he was doing, but also took deliberate steps to conceal his actions. She found that he obstructed justice, laundered illicit funds, and acted as an unregistered foreign agent, all aggravating factors, key word here, aggravating factors that dramatically increased his sentencing range, the presumptive sentencing range under federal sentencing guidelines. Her tone was unflinching. Quote, "The defense's argument understates the severity of the offenses and the defendant's role in advancing them." This is what she wrote, echoing the prosecutors who have long painted Michel as a willing participant in an international web of corruption. Now, the billionaire behind the scandal. You see, the case centers around Malaysian financier Jho Low, a fugitive billionaire accused of masterminding the looting of more than $4 billion from Malaysia's 1MDB sovereign wealth fund. Low allegedly used his fortune to buy everything from luxury yachts, and art to Hollywood connections and political influence in Washington. Now, prosecutors say that Michel received tens of millions of dollars from Low to secretly influence U.S. policy and elections, and that is a no-no. Throw in some Logan Act violations as well, but I'll get to that perhaps later. Now, the scheme, the feds claim, was twofold. First, to curry favor with President Obama's re-election campaign in 2012, and later to convince the Trump administration to abandon efforts to extradite Low back to Malaysia. Now, at trial, the Justice Department described Michel as a highly paid operative for a foreign power, not just some hapless celebrity. The money flowed through shell companies and intermediaries, and the trail, it was according to the feds, led back to campaign donations and lobbying efforts that violated multiple federal laws. You see, the scope of the conspiracy was staggering, the feds allege. According to the prosecutors, Michel funneled millions into U.S. political campaigns, and the source of the money, and even attempted, by the way, to influence an investigation by using straw donors and false statements. Does this sound unsophisticated to you? Now, the conviction that changed everything. Michel's downfall began in earnest in April 2023 when a federal jury convicted him on all 10 counts, including conspiracy, witness tampering, and acting as an unregistered foreign agent. The verdict came after a dramatic trial that blended elements of espionage, celebrity, and political corruption, among others. Now, Michel took the stand in his own defense, which is, as you know, a risky move that ultimately backfired. His testimony meant to portray him as a naive and manipulated young man. Instead, it reinforced the government's case that he was an active participant in a criminal network. Why did he do this? Prosecutors highlighted how he maintained direct contact with Jho Low, Jholow, for those of you keeping track at home, and directed money and transfers and recruited others to help conceal the operation. Now, the evidence included text messages, financial records, and witness testimony that showed Michel moving millions of dollars through complex channels while meeting with high-level political operatives. Pretty sophisticated for Mr. Naive. His conviction was not only a personal catastrophe, but also a cautionary tale about how fame and access can make even cultural icons vulnerable to foreign influence operations. Now, money, politics, and power. You see, the case against Michel was about more than just campaign finance violations. No, it exposed how foreign money can seep into American politics, often through individuals with cultural cachet or celebrity status. Does Diddy come to mind at all? See, prosecutors argue that Michel helped Jho Low launder not just money, but legitimacy by associating with political campaigns and social circles in Washington. Low gained the kind of credibility and entree that money alone couldn't buy. You see, Michel's involvement blurred the line between entertainment and politics. He used his fame and connections to host fundraisers, channel funds, and act as a middleman between international financiers and U.S. political insiders. Mr. Naive? In one particularly damning revelation, prosecutors alleged that Michel tried to influence Trump administration officials to drop the investigation into Jho Low and the 1MDB scandal altogether. These actions, they said, went far beyond naivete. They were the deliberate acts of someone selling influence on behalf of a foreign actor. And that is a no-no. And then we look at the money trail and forfeiture. The legal consequences extend beyond prison time. Last week, the court ordered Michel to forfeit more than $64.9 million, representing the proceeds from his role in the foreign lobbying and concealment scheme. That figure, prosecutors say, reflects not only the magnitude of his involvement, but the depth of the corruption itself. Think about that. Federal investigators traced the funds through offshore accounts, campaign contributions, and entertainment deals, building a comprehensive picture of how money moved through Michel's network. The forfeiture ensures that whatever fortune he accumulated through this conspiracy will not survive him. And now, a defense in disarray. Michel's legal team had long maintained that he was misled by powerful players. They described him as a musician, not a mastermind, arguing that he lacked the political sophistication to understand the full implications of his actions. They also claimed prosecutorial overreach and raised concerns about bias, arguing that Michel was being punished more severely because of his celebrity and visibility. But you see, the court's findings left little room for sympathy. The evidence of obstruction and foreign agency was too substantial to ignore. Even Michel's post-trial behavior, including inconsistent statements and attempts to downplay his role, appeared to many to harden the judge's view of his culpability. Now, the cultural irony, the Fugee, or Fugee, turned fugitive. Get it? Fugee, fugitive, fugitive. For fans of the Fugees, the irony is painful. The group that once championed consciousness and social justice in hip-hop has now become a footnote in one of the decade's most complex white-collar crime stories ever. Pras Michel was part of a trio part of a trio that defined a generation alongside Lauryn Hill and Wyclef Jean. Their music spoke of resilience and redemption. But Michel's current saga has stripped those words of their meaning altogether. He now stands as a symbol of what happens when celebrity collides with politics, when the allure of influence overtakes the humility of art. His story joins a long line of entertainers who mistook proximity to power for immunity from accountability. And now, my friends, what happens next? Well, sentencing is expected later this year. The defense is expected to file one last motion for leniency, emphasizing Michel's lack of prior criminal history and his charitable contributions. But given the judge's ruling on the sentencing enhancements, those pleas may fall on deaf ears. You see, the sentencing guidelines, 15 to 19 and a half years, are not mandatory, but they strongly influence the final judgment. They are presumptive. Unless the court is persuaded to deviate substantially downward based upon clear and convincing reasons, Michel faces what amounts to a generational sentence. The case also remains part of a broader Justice Department push to combat foreign interference in American politics, a mission that has gained renewed urgency, in recent years. So now the final act. For now, Pras Michel waits. His career is effectively over, his fortune forfeited, and his reputation shredded. What remains is a sobering question. How did one of hip-hop's most socially aware voices become a cautionary tale about greed and manipulation? You see, the answer may lie not in the courtroom, but in the culture that blurred the lines between fame and politics, between money and morality. Michel's story is not just about one man's fall. It's a reflection of how easily power seduces and how quickly it consumes those who chase it without understanding its cost. As the sentencing date approaches, one truth is clear. The man who once called himself a ghetto superstar is now facing the most unforgiving stage of all, the American justice system. Now, my friends, what do you think? This is a fantastically fascinating story. Let me remind you before I end this particular visit with you that there are two sponsors that make us all possible. MyPillow.com, promo code Lionel, MyPillow.com/Lionel. The great Mike Lindell with the most incredible products, American-made, to help you luxuriate and to enjoy, to be ensconced in just the silky suppleness and the comfort of MyPillow products. And also PrepareWithLionel.com. PrepareWithLionel.com. In the world of emergency food and energy and water purification, remember, when the times get rough, all you need is water, food, energy, and ammo. I can't help you with the ammo, but the others I can. PrepareWithLionel.com. Go and check out for yourself what's available. I thank you for this. Thank you for being a part of Lionel Legal. Please subscribe. 70% of the people who watch our videos don't subscribe, which doesn't make any sense to me. So subscribe, and also make sure that you like this video and hit that little bell so you're notified of live streams and new videos. And whatever you do, my friends, I beg, beseech, entreat, and import you to comment as you see